assuming Nicholas DeOrio viewers are capable of cognitive dissonance. That's okay. If you say so, Cleepy. Those just all interesting words, aren't they? Just interesting words worth remembering.
You sound like Tommy C when you say shit like that.
I hope you kill Augie.
I'm genuinely disappointed in you, Auggie. Why?
Good point. Good point. It was offensive.
Sleepy, good pointing himself. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. We love to see it.
Again, I just...
Okay, Sleepy versus Auggie. Let's finally get into it. Oh, geez, I didn't realize this was an hour-long video. Let's get into it. So we're going to see Sleepy's response to Augie's response to Sleepy's video. Guys, huge things happening. Hopefully, they're going to argue about it on the stream. I'm praying. I'm hoping Auggie is going to say he's willing to do it. I know Sleepy did. Hopefully, Auggie is going to say he is. Let's take a look.
Weeks ago, when I released my video on Nick DeOrio and some tweets, followed up with a second video that involved AugieRFC, I was under the impression that based on the response tweet from Auggie, that there would be a heated beef, a battle, a fun, exciting battle. But in watching Augie's stream where he goes over some of the Ethan Klein lawsuit stuff and then covers my video, it's become clear to me that there's not that much tension or disagreement here. But I will highlight the moments that there were disagreements and offer my rebuttals. So off rip, kind of what started this entire altercation between myself and Auggie is Auggie saying objectively it is offensive.
My whole take on this was, I said initially, objectively it is. If Hila was black and Anissa was like, shit, hey man, what you doing? That would be hilarious because it's offensive. I don't think Nick is suddenly disavowing offensive humor. It's obviously a hypocrisy argument because Anissa is a woke schooling leftist. And the reason why, now Nick never verbally said that this was a hypocrisy argument, but I just assumed that that was the point that he was making because Nick regularly engages in the same type of humor that he's calling offensive in that clip. So why would he be against it if he also engages in the same behavior? Is that not like a logical argument? Like that's just how I see it, right? I know Nick, I know him personally. I even talked to Nick, I was like, I'm pretty sure you're not against edgy humor, right? And he was like, yeah, of course not, right?
So, a couple things to unpack there. That's an interesting sequence of statements. At the end there, what do you hear? You hear him say, you know, I actually talked to Nick, and Nick said he's not against edgy humor. So there was some amount of communication, which is something that I referenced in my video that seemed to have pissed off Auggie, okay? Auggie was very mad that I would suggest...
Yeah, the thing is that, like, Auggie keeps using, like, the idea that, oh, I know Nick, he's not against it. Like, yeah, we know that you wouldn't expect Nick to be against edgy humor, but the point is he's signaling that he is, right? He's signaling to this new audience that he is.
Suggest that him and Nick were talking behind the scenes,
or at least against some forms of it.
Okay, turns out Auggie comes clean, lets us know. Now, I also did say, and we'll get to that later in the video, that I said that Auggie was being dishonest. I think that that's a term I probably wouldn't have used so liberally. Maybe I would have said influenced by his friend Nick, influenced by their friendship, by their communications, but also influenced by the fact that, you know, Auggie was making videos with this guy, streams with this guy for a long time, hasn't done that this year. And I don't know how tapped in Auggie was prior to the recent dramas that are going on here. I know Augie's had some discussions about other mistakes that DeOrio's made this year, but I don't think Auggie is every week tapping into the Nicholas DeOrio stream to see what he's talking about and then make a video about it. And I think not being as tapped into what DeOrio's content has been like over the last year, I think it actually makes Auggie a little bit more charitable to DeOrio because he's not really aware of what that content's been like, what DeOrio's engagement with the clients has been like. What does he criticize the clients in a way that's not just, you know, surface level, I don't want to offend the people that I'm kind of rocking with right now.
So that's where I was coming from with this, right? Now, the alternative argument is that people see this as he's posturing, he's playing both sides, right? Where on stream he'll say something super soy because that's what appeals to his audience, but then if he gets like a negative reaction to the soy fucking statement, then he'll provide like a additional clarification. I don't really see...
I think Augie's getting there. I think he's getting there. The idea is that on stream, he's aware that he's appealing to the H3 audience. I'm going to say what appeals to that audience. And then let me go into the clipped live on Reddit and say what appeals to the commentary audience.
Contradictory to his original argument. And
I feel like Sleepy's making it sound too conscious, too calculated there. When it's like he goes into the segments, he goes into his streams, primed, ready to just do the anti-Anissa, anti-Hassan, whatever, just do his shtick. So he just sort of says shit. Like, so often, Nick on the stream is just sort of saying shit. And then he realizes how it looks, or how it sounds, or how it fits with other positions that he's got, or expressed in the past. And he does a gay little walk back.
And I feel like a lot of people that were, like, super critical of his take here on the accent stuff are not super familiar with the Idubbbz drama in the first place, or they just don't remember it, or they don't care that much, right? Anissa and Idubbbz are woke schooling leftists. Maybe recently they're kind of.
I'm not going to waste too much time on the, oh, Anissa and IDubbbz were woke scolding leftists. In my previous video on this subject, I feel like I pretty well explained why I don't think that that's like really that big of an argument. In this like sector of the disagreement between myself and Auggie, you have Augie's position where he's like, I know Nick. Nick is a guy that is into edgy humor, is into, you know, funny impressions. So obviously he was making a hypocrisy argument. That's Augie's position, is like, there's no way he wasn't, you know what I mean? Naturally, that's what he was doing. And my position is, I think he reflexively, while in the mode of, I need to make fun of Anissa.
Yeah, exactly, Tequila. Like, I said this before when we covered it, but I'm sick of the gesturing to hypocrisy. Show me the hypocrisy. Show me where this person said something that runs in contradiction to the current actions. I can do it for Nick. Anytime someone's like, oh, prove that Nick's a hypocrite, I can go find your clips. I can go find your clips. I can pull up that Dark Viper clip all day. You know? It's very easy. So do it for Anissa. Do it for IDubbbz. Show me the evidence. Do it for Hassan. Show me the evidence.
I talked about that for the same reason I made a video on this. Nick DeOrio decided not to cover, he skipped past the thumbnail section of Ethan Klein's stream, where listen to what Ethan Klein is about to read.
The thumbnail depicted Ethan performing a Nazi salute to the Israeli flag.
As other creators have already said, Noah Sampson's thumbnail just ripped the content nuke pose and put it in his own thumbnail. DeOrio, in his original stream, he missed this. I think skipped personally, but missed. And so before he uploaded the VOD, he made
There's another thing happening here as well that I think Sleepy's probably going to make a point about at some point in this video, because I saw a clip in passing. I think me and Sleepy probably had this argument revealed to us in the same dream. But Nick is like constantly aware that there's a chance that either Ethan or Ela is watching his stream, because they've been in chat, they've donated, and when Papa Gut reacted to that Armand Animations thing, Ethan saw it like immediately and blew it up on his Instagram story and like freaked the fuck out and brought the hammer down on him. So Nick is like constantly aware that, you know, his E-daddy or his E-daddy's wife is like watching, and that he could say something that pisses them off, or maybe let's say go uncontested that he shouldn't, you know.
an edit where he goes, "Future Nick here."
Hey, Future Nick here. I just wanted to pop in and give you a bit of additional information on something that I had missed while I was streaming this.
Buried an hour and 41 minutes into the video, might I add. He explains that he disagrees with the inclusion of the thumbnail in the lawsuit, and he kind of softly says, I disagree with the lawsuit as a whole. Like, listen to how soft this is.
As you'll, I guess, come to learn by the end of this, I don't really agree with this lawsuit. I don't really agree with this lawsuit. Again, as you'll, I guess, come to learn by the end of this.
I'm just so glad there are more people saying Nick for Nick. You know, this is like just so cathartic seeing people see the same shit that he does. Where it's like, I don't really agree with it. He was why I put this in. I think it's a good idea. Shut the fuck up, dude.
I don't really agree with this lawsuit. I really don't think it makes a lot of sense. So I wouldn't go out of—
And again, my favorite part, I have said this many times, my favorite part of this whole situation is him saying, I don't know what the lawyer was going for. Forget about Ethan Klein. I don't know what the lawyer was going for.
Having the arm to make it look more Nazi-esque. I'm not really sure what exactly the lawyer was going for on this one, because again,
this whole idea, it feels reductive to me, like this thinking that DeOrio can't even disagree with them once, otherwise he'll lose like significant, like tens of thousands of dollars, right? If he disagrees with them a few times.
This is where I'm saying that the perception and the information that you take in kind of influences your take. Auggie does not know the depth of which DeOrio has like connected his whole fucking shit with the clients. The audience that DeOrio has that come from the clients are always going to be more partial to the clients than to DeOrio.
Like significant, like tens of thousands of dollars, right? If he disagrees with them a few times.
This is where I'm saying that the perception and the information that you take in.
Yeah, so I don't think that it's, I think Sleepy's off it. I think Sleepy's arguing with the wrong point of this, arguing with the wrong part of what Augie's saying. Augie's saying, I don't think Nick would lose tens of thousands of dollars just for disagreeing with the clients a few times. That's true. That's probably true. But what's required of Nick is not just disagreeing with the clients a few times. Nick has laid out very specific, very firm principles that he claimed to hold very strongly. Many times he's laid them out. So simply disagreeing a couple of times, saying in passing, I don't think Ethan should have used Saber Fox like that or some shit, whatever he said. Don't think he even said that. I think he just said, I disagreed with that. That's not enough. That's not enough. Nick either needs to explain why there is a massive change in his principles and cop to that, or he needs to change his positions massively. It is not enough to simply disagree a couple of times. We can run down all the clips of him grandstanding about Dark Viper, about the way Ethan used Etika's death. You know, there are just a million different parallels for shit that he has, you know, harshly condemned in the past, but now gives a total free pass to.
Kind of influences your take. Auggie does not know the depth of which DeOrio has like connected his whole fucking shit with the clients. The audience that DeOrio has that come from the clients are always going to be more partial to the clients than to DeOrio. And if DeOrio wants to keep those people around, he cannot have a moment that causes Ethan to be like, I don't fuck with DeOrio anymore.
If DeOrio tonight heel turned and decided, you know what, fuck you,
This take made no sense.
Ethan, he would get a lot of backlash, but I almost feel like the viewers like a heel turn in a lot of different ways. Like I've seen like lots of streamers in the past do.
Viewers would have so much cognitive dissonance over the last year worth of content. I don't know who the fuck, who's gonna be like, oh yeah, awesome shit, you know?
Assuming Nicholas DeOrio viewers are capable of cognitive dissonance. That's okay. If you say so. If you say so, Cleepy. Yet to be seen.
No, awesome shit, DeOrio. The H3 audience drops him like that immediately. So audience cut in half. Anyone with a brain is like asking themselves why this didn't happen sooner. And then maybe you got like 700 left that are like diehards for DeOrio, which I mean, that's respectable.
This type of shit where it's like, yeah, they'll obviously lose a significant portion of their audience and maybe even some money, but like the overall support will still be there. I mean, how many times has Destiny cut off like massive chunks of his audience when he went after Hassan, or when he decided that, you know what, fuck the
This is the thing though, like when was Destiny ever an orbiter? When was Destiny orbiting a bigger content creator? I don't know if that's ever happened. Maybe I'm like wrong on the history of Destiny, but typically people would orbit him. I guess in that case, you could point to Vosh being like a good example of somebody who sprouted their own career after orbiting him. Maybe DeOrio is like the next Vosh, you know, maybe.
Engage with the commies anymore and stuff like that, right? Like hasn't Destiny axed his audience in half like multiple times throughout his entire career? And obviously he's been financially and like relevance-wise fine from that.
Chud gave kind of a retarded response when I was watching this. It was like basically saying that, oh, Destiny's like a special case. I don't think Destiny's a special case at all. I think that's like just like a delusion. The only way in which Destiny's a special case is that he's like totally shameless. He's just like a, you know, degenerate pervert with no shame. Like, it is true that obviously, you know, Chud was saying he's like got a charisma to him and people are getting pissed off. That's obviously true to an extent. Like, he does have a charisma you have to be to keep an audience. But that's not why he's able to survive stuff like he is. It's just because he's a pervert with no shame. He will just stream through anything. And that's basically 90% of the battle. It's just not taking your foot off the gas.
You know? So the idea that if DeOrio were to criticize Ethan Klein or laugh at an Anissa joke, like even just subtly, right? It does kind of, I don't buy that fully.
I mean, there is like a decent amount of history of Ethan being like extremely vindictive and having thin skin. So I think in DeOrio's position, having a healthy amount of fear is probably the best case scenario if you're trying to ride this H3 coattail.
Oh, wait, this actually, oh, that's a
Or when he decided to message a minor. I mean, yeah, that's true, right? Like even doing that didn't lose Destiny a significant amount of his audience, clearly. I don't think the YouTube viewer cares that much at the end of the day. You know, I mean, Nick is already losing a significant portion of his audience right now to H3, simply because H3 does a night show now, streaming over DeOrio's time slot. I feel like he would lose more just from H3 streaming over him than Nick would if he just criticized Ethan once or twice or laughed at any joke. I mean, yes.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then why hasn't he done it? Like let's just, you know, why hasn't he done it? There's a reason he hasn't done it. Wasn't DeOrio the guy that like cut off all of his friends? He cut off Bo Blacks. He cut off Flamenco, okay? He takes people out to pasture. Like, Auggie is writing this fanfic that, like, DeOrio can cut off the audience and suffer no consequence, or maybe suffer a minor viewer loss, but then eventually bounce back. Why hasn't he done it then? Like, if it's so easy, if it's something that he could totally do, why hasn't he done it? Maybe if we evaluate his actions and look at the incentives, we can go, maybe he's not doing it because he's in a good position right now financially. Maybe he's not doing it because he knows that if he does overstep a line with the clients, that he will get cut out. I mean, one of the easiest
that's true. Yeah. So this is the point that I was saying earlier. That is true. That is true. I don't think Nick would like totally lose his entire audience by going against them, but he's worried about getting cut out by them.
Overstep a line with the clients, that
he's also worried about what happens if he makes an enemy of them and they come down on him.
He'll get cut out. I mean, one of the easiest examples is what happened with Papa Gut. Papa Gut found himself reacting to the legend of Ethan Klein. It was a little animation. It's very funny, but obviously, you know, it levies some criticisms at Ethan. It kind of makes him look like a cracked out schizo. So Ethan Klein does what he does best, and he gets on his Instagram story and starts complaining. If Papa Gut is falling for shallow snark bait, then I'm screwed. Now, this is the screenshot that Ethan Klein posted, and this is the topic that Papa Gut was discussing. It was regarding the Clips channel and Trisha Paytas wanting a cut.
Person I worked with. You know, I will say something, because I like Ethan, you know. Got to establish that so I can say something crude about him. And it sounds like it has credibility.
Listen to how nice he's being just to start. I like Ethan. I want to make sure that people know I like Ethan before I say a criticism.
Nah, but I like Ethan. But I saw this like weird clip where Ethan was talking about, I guess more recently, maybe it's out of context, where like they make a lot of money from the Clips channel, and then it does a flashback to where Trisha Paytas was like, I want some of the Clips channel money, and he's like, it's not that much, like don't worry about it. And it's so funny because like why lie about that? You know, I can't find it. But it's like, why lie about that? Like, why not just be like, listen, I'm giving you... He was already giving her 50% of the memberships for the whole channel, which, considering they had like 2 other podcast days, was quite generous, and 45% of the revenue from those episodes. I think that that's fair, and I think it's fair for him to make more money because he's producing the show. It's his entire infrastructure. He put up the money to start the show. He has an entire studio infrastructure. So the weird thing to me is like, why lie? Like, it's what he's talking about, his Clips channel. That's my understanding. Why lie about that? It's like, it almost seems like he just thinks Trish is stupid. So he's just like, no, it's not a lot of money. Shut up. Valid? Military target? I disagree.
So again, like, he's levying a criticism here. He's saying, you know, why would you lie about the Clips channel not making a lot of money? And Ethan can't just let that go without a response. Like, there's no need to respond to something this minor. Like, this is not a clip that needs to be addressed. But Ethan goes on his Instagram story and says, before Frenemies, when we were doing the show once per week, our highlights channel was getting 30 to 50 million monthly views, while the podcast was getting 5 to 7 million. That was the first 3 years of the podcast before I ever mentioned Trisha. The algorithm changed to throttle highlight channels before Frenemies. Go sort by most popular videos on the highlight channel and you'll see. Why lie about something like that, quote unquote? That's a question for Snark. Papa Gut watched this video, offered an opinion that Ethan Klein couldn't stomach, so Ethan posted a story about it. That Instagram story does impact...
You don't want an Instagram story, do you, Nick? You don't get an Instagram story from Ethan, do you, Nick? Dude, it's just so fucking embarrassing. It is actually so fucking embarrassing.
Ethan's audience will view Papa Gut going forward. Like, listen to the language he's using. If Papa Gut is...
Well, the reason he uses Instagram is because he got ran off of Twitter, right? He was sick of everyone calling him a Zogbot and all of his fucking Twitter replies, so he got ran off.
The shallow snark bait, then I'm screwed. It is...
He's like, these are tweets. These are tweets.
Incredibly important to be aware of what Ethan Klein thinks.
Nobody uses Instagram stories like this other than Ethan. Now
let's watch Nicholas DeOrio condemn Ethan Klein for pushing the snark aspect of the story when really snark had not that much to do with this woman committing suicide.
Fox person, that whole suicide situation, I was like, I don't think this is a snark issue. I thought it right away before anyone said it, and I saw a lot of people on Twitter.
Oh, so you weren't in on that? I saw a lot of people who just immediately assumed. I think even Ethan to an extent, kind of.
Even Ethan to an extent.
You know what I did? I instantly went and I looked at the subreddit and how many posts were there, and they were all from like one person, and it was like 10. I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people are fucking really mad about that.
I don't mean to be mean. I just feel like I think that...
Anything to say about Ethan being completely wrong on that, DeOrio? Anything?
I don't even know.
Well, it's at the point where like there's so much fucking us versus them mentality that's popping up from people to the point where like we've stopped researching shit. And I think that's I think it's a really dangerous place to be in if you can't Google the name of the subreddit before you go out there and start saying they're killing people.
Okay, who was saying that? Who exactly was saying that, DeOrio?
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of us versus them, and I think
Anyways, point is, this is the condemnation that Auggie is pointing to. Like, look, he disagreed with Ethan one time. Absolutely heartbreaking. The Snark subreddit is already private, and the mods' accounts erased. Ethan was very clearly trying to make her suicide, you know, a result of the Snark subreddit. And here's what Dan Saltman had to say about that.
and I looked at the subreddit and how many posts were there, and they're all from like one person, and it was like 10. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people are fucking really mad about that.
I don't.
So like it's clear that that subreddit really did not have any impact on this situation, minor at best. And Ethan, on the flip side, is running with it like, look at what Snark does to people.
Guys, a lot of people are really mad about that. Why would you be so mad about Ethan Klein using someone's death for his own gain, using someone's suicide for his own gain?
The segment that bothered me most in this video was the huge chunk dedicated to the creator Etika. First of all, I'd like to reiterate that Keemstar's stance on mental health from this time period was fucking appalling. If you don't believe me, look no further than the 3 sips of beer tweet that's become quite the meme recently. I think Keemstar's handling of the situation is definitely open to criticism and should be criticized. In fact, some of this segment does that excellently. For example, the fact that Keemstar posted the mental hospital he was attending to his millions of followers in 2018 was absurd, and interviewing him when he got out of the mental hospital in 2019 was clearly a big mistake on Keemstar's part. The part that I and most other social media influencers had an issue with was the insinuation that Ethan clearly made about Keemstar killing Etika.
He knew he would get lots of views, and he did, with great cost to Etika. Keemstar's greatest moment comes when he asks Etika in a manic state, why doesn't he just jump off a cliff?
If you really think about it, then why live? Just jump off a cliff. Just jump off a cliff. If it's just a simulation, who cares?
Of course, hypothetical, but it is quite a coincidence when you consider that only 51 days later, that very same YouTuber jumped off a bridge to his death.
While I'm sure that Ethan will brush this entire allegation off as simply speculation based on his track record of recent replies, there's a good reason why so many people walked away from the video thinking that was his underlying intention. It also doesn't help that the very next clip showcases FouseyTube, and a very select line was chosen out of all the possible clips that would be applicable to the mental health argument.
FouseyTube is another YouTuber who is a frequent target of Keemstar's. He also suffered a manic break, and here he is talking directly to Keemstar.
Hey, I'm just telling you as a man at 28 years old what I feel. You made me want to commit suicide last year. I wanted to kill myself because of all the attention you gave me. I rewatched videos going viral after the attention you're giving me now of you saying Fousey is the biggest piece of shit, egotistical asshole on this earth. I have bipolar and depression. That what you put into my head made me want to kill myself!
If you're looking for an explanation or any added context, there is none. That's all in another video. He literally just plays a clip of Fousey screaming, Keemstar makes me want to kill myself, following the Etika story, and then nonchalantly moves on to the next subject.
What you put into my head made me want to kill myself!
That's terrible.
But ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that Ethan Klein is a liar!
This stuff makes me sick for a multitude of reasons. Naturally, the context that's missing is a good place to start. Notably omitted from the video is the statement delivered by Etika's own mother. She stepped up to defend Keemstar when he was initially being blamed, stating that Keemstar is not responsible for Etika's passing, and she...
Oh, almost like Saber Fox's husband saying that it was because of real life people that owned that were part of other fox sanctuaries. It's almost like that.
also gave Keemstar some pretty good advice down there at the bottom. There's also the messages from Etika's girlfriend sharing the same sentiment from both before and again after the content nuke dropped. This is
almost like that same thing that I just said.
The part that really fucking annoys me. Etika's ex-girlfriend Alex was trashed on social media for sharing her opinion in defense of Keemstar to the point where she felt forced to either delete the tweets and private her account or face an oncoming hate mob. Imagine
that one didn't exactly happen.
Ex-boyfriend dies tragically nearly a year ago after a successful fucking suicide attempt, and you now have to be subjected to prepubescent pieces of shit who watched one guy's YouTube video and feel the need to tell you that you're wrong about why he killed himself. Imagine a hate mob telling this girl that she's not grieving correctly. Imagine fucking arguing with someone who would know, saying that Keemstar did reach out to Etika behind the scenes, and your response is to send her some screenshots of tweets that people were spamming all over the website that night. Then, another close personal friend of Etika came out in complete support of Ethan. Now this has spiraled into inadvertently pitting the loved ones of Etika against each other. Now look, I know this wasn't Ethan's goal, but Jesus fucking Christ, is this fair to anyone? Why the fuck would you make Etika the focal point of your video that was designed to get back at Keemstar for accusing you of pocketing money from the game Payday 2? Why does this dude's legacy need to be subjected to this? Why does this dude's tragic suicide need to be weaponized and debated on a year later in YouTube Drama Exposed video? This just feels like a cop-out because he's gone. He's unable to speak for himself. Etika is unable to interject and let people know what he was feeling or pick a side. It's an allegation that H3H3 felt comfortable to walk right up to the door with because Etika's not here to tell him that's not true, and nobody knows exactly what was going through Etika's mind.
He tweeted out, Etika fans are tweeting.
Ooh, those just all interesting words, aren't they? Just interesting words worth remembering.
People are killing themselves over Snark. Point is, Auggie is like misremembering what happened. DeOrio did not give a firm condemnation of Ethan. That's just not what happened. I don't know. Is it? Is it them spurging out? Like, it doesn't feel like that. This shit's so embarrassing. You guys are these edgelords yourselves, and you're like, well, they're supposed to be woke scolding leftists. Like, they're being hypocrites. Okay, dude. Okay, who gives a fuck? Like, I really, this is your issue. Like, Augie's in my comments saying that I don't care because I'm racist, but that's how people see it. Pointing out that something is offensive doesn't mean that you find it problematic. Dude. Like, it's such a funny thing to tweet. I don't care because I'm racist. It's like, again, he clearly found it problematic, and he clearly
Wait, but why not respond to the argument though?
Like, dude, again, he clearly found it problematic.
Well, hold on.
So I think, okay, I think me saying he clearly found it problematic is a bit confusing because it does sound like I'm saying he personally finds it problematic. I think what I'm trying to say, let me give myself the benefit of the doubt.
I think vice signaling has become mad overused, you know, like just saying like I'm racist, stuff like it's just mad overused.
I think what I'm trying to say is that in that moment, he's reacting based on the situation, based on he's covering Anissa, and there's a way that he needs to cover Anissa. He needs to be negative towards Anissa. And when he reacts, he kind of soys out and says, not only is that offensive, right? That's him kind of saying, this is kind of problematic. Now, does he actually believe it's problematic? I think everybody here seems to agree that no, he does his own offensive humor. The whole point is that he was reacting to it on the fly, and his snap reaction was, oh, this is offensive, this is problematic. My read of that, I've already kind of explained, he's going to be partial towards Ethan Klein, and he's going to be anti-Anissa. That's why he said what he said. Augie's read is that he's making a hypocrisy argument when he's saying that it's offensive.
Does he respond to the argument? Can you point out that something is offensive without you finding it offensive?
Yes, you can point out that something is offensive without finding it offensive. My point is, why is DeOrio calling this offensive? What is causing him to do that? Why is his snap reaction to call this offensive? Comments saying that I don't care because I'm racist, but that's how people see it. Pointing out that something is offensive doesn't mean that you find it problematic. Dude, again, he clearly found it problematic.
It's like, dude, come on, just trust me, bro. Why?
Yeah, in fairness, I don't think I broke that point down accurately or properly, so I'll give him that. And he clearly did not think about the hypocrisy argument when he played this clip.
I'm a big fan.
The second half of that, I'm banging because he wasn't thinking about the hypocrisy thing, but I should have explained a lot better what I meant by, oh, he clearly found that problematic. He found it problematic insofar as a reaction when he's making Anissa content, but does he find it problematic personally? Like, probably not.
Fan of Nicholas
Okay, but why
DeOrio,
not?
what can I say? You do your research.
I don't know. Not only is that offensive, it's also bad. Like, it's
again, and we play the entire thing.
So he just replays the clip, but it's like, can you have that position?
Not once in this fucking Yes, you can have that position. Clip, was he thinking, this is kind of hypocritical. He wasn't even thinking about that. It's a post-talk. The hypocritical point I'm killing him on, but the fact that I didn't go and explain the problematic part properly, that's a bit of an L on my part. Rationalization. So we should be throwing that whole hypocrisy argument out to begin with. But I'm only engaging with it because of you, Auggie, because you've decided to double down and because you're trying to defend your boy. And I get it. That's your homie. You're trying to be a good friend. But do not let this guy make you.
See, you sound like Tommy C when you say shit like that.
I hope you kill Auggie.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Be throwing that whole hypocrisy argument out to begin with, but I'm only engaging with it because of you, Auggie, because you've decided to double down and because you're trying to defend your boy, and I get it. That's your homie. You're trying to be a good friend, but do not let this guy make you.
See, you sound like Tommy C when you say shit like that.
I hope you kill Auggie. I hope you. Okay, I'm joking, but please do not ever compare me to Tommy C ever again. What kind of fucking fuck you? Fuck you. What a terrible thing to say to someone.
I hear the same when Sleepy makes this point right here. All I hear is Tommy C. It's the same shit. It's like, you can never have an opinion of your own. You're only doing it for some ulterior motive because...
That wasn't my point. It wasn't ulterior motive. Like, obviously you have your opinion. I'm just saying, you know, I think you're trying to be a good guy. I think you're trying to be a homie. That's what I was trying to give you an out, bro. I was throwing you a bone. And you're out here calling me Tommy C for throwing you a bone? For being a nice guy? I'm Tommy
Augie's such a good friend, isn't he, guys? Isn't Augie such a good friend?
I'm addicted to alcohol.
He's just such a good friend to
my
Nick.
brain missing.
That's the one thing you can always say about Augie.
Why would you ever say that? Why would you call me a bum like that? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Because you're trying to back up your boy. You're trying to stay tight with DeOrio. You're trying to do this for this.
No, not stay tight. I'm just saying you're being a good friend, man. Oh my god.
This reason you're trying to play some, you know, background political game, and it's like, how about I just have a fucking opinion?
You have an opinion and you're being a good friend. Can these things not exist at the same time?
How about I just looked at the argument that you're making and I have a different side of it? That's it. You know?
Fuck your side, Augie. Your side's retarded. Fuck you.
Does it have to be like some ulterior motive? Why am I the only person that can have an ulterior motive here? You know, it's always got to be like, I'm doing something because I have to protect my friend, but it's never you're incentivized to view DeOrio in the most bad faith way possible. I'm not saying he's being bad faith, but I'm just saying like you're incentivized to look at DeOrio.
Look at this guy calling me bad faith.
In the most bad faith way possible because it's content for you or something.
That's true. It is content for me. It is. That's fair. But I also don't agree with DeOrio, right? I'm not just doing this because selfishly I'm trying to make some money, okay? I also just like genuinely have like disagreements with this person. And I think that what they've been doing is like embarrassing. And I look at the person and the content and the ideas and the opinions that this person held like 3-4 years ago, and I compare them to the person that exists today. And I'm like, what caused this like change? And it's very clear to me. And I think it's you know, when you see something like that, you want to call it out and you want to talk about it. Like that's what commentary is all about.
A valid argument. Like you can never have any ulterior motive here. It's always going to be like, I'm the one with the ulterior motive, you know?
Yeah. Like I'm not trying to say that he had, I mean, I guess that's what it comes off of. Like, that's what, like when I say, oh, you're just trying to be a good friend. Like it sounds like, oh, you have ulterior motives, but it's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to give him an out. I'm trying to say, listen, you said something that I thought was retarded. And I think you just, you know, you're being a good friend, and maybe you stuck yourself out a bit further than you needed to, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that is the Augie has sort of said, like, you know, he obviously does have a bias towards his friends. Obviously, everyone does to an extent, but Augie has been quite, you know, there was the whole Brandon Buckingham thing, you know, with the doxing Turkey Tom's accuser or whatever. He's just like, well, yeah, when my friends do something bad to people that have fucked them over, I think that's awesome. It's like, okay.
Make you think that he was doing this for any other reason than he was defending Hila Klein's honor. True. Because that's what it was. He's not allowed to find that funny. In that moment,
he's not allowed to find it funny.
I don't think he is. I don't think he is. I think the Papa Gut example is a very good example where, you know, you lean a little bit too much to one direction. Ethan Klein gets wind of it and he posts an Instagram story about you.
It just seems like so insane to me, right? It's like he's never allowed.
It is insane. Augie, it is insane. That's why I'm talking about it. That's why it's so crazy to me.
Joke, he loses $10,000 a month. Does he?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, he does, kinda.
Maybe, I guess. I don't see it that way.
If he laughed, maybe you guess. We're moving him. We're moving him. We're moving him to the... If he thinks that's a really good impression, actually, his audience will tear him apart. He's not allowed to find what Anissa's saying funny, and he definitely can't laugh at Anissa impersonating Hila Klein. And Augie, let me be clear. Forget about this clipped live post that he's doing.
I'm genuinely disappointed in you, Augie. Why? Why are you genuinely disappointed? It's like you hear a take that you don't agree with, you're like, I can't believe this.
Doing the post-hoc rationalization. There is no way, and we played the full 2 minutes, there is no way that in the clip itself, you got the impression that DeOrio was talking about a hypocrisy argument. You only got that from what he said in the clip live, but you did not get that from his stream because he did not say that and he wasn't thinking it. He said that... Good point. Good point. It was offensive for completely different reasons.
Sleepy, good pointing himself. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. We love to see it.
Again, I just used my brain. You know, I just used my brain. I just heard him say that. I'm like...
True.
But yeah, using your brain, that's the problem though, is that like I thought, so when I saw Augie's take, I thought he was basing it off of the clip live, which apparently is not the case. Apparently he just came to that conclusion that the hypocrisy argument was like by default what DeOrio was doing. He came to that conclusion on his own, which makes it even more confusing to me. Like, again, I can admit that it is plausible that it was a hypocrisy argument. I don't think it's likely. I don't think it's likely at all.
Kuihman was like anti-edgy content while also hosting a show called Rape Review, right?
It's not that he's anti-edgy content. It's that he's anti-Anissa saying something funny or negative towards Hila. He's got to offer that reaction. That's what I'm saying. That's why that reflex comes in.
If DeOrio just came out and was like, this is offensive, it's too far, it's fucked up, it's wrong. I mean, that would be like a lyrics moment almost, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't think that's what's going to happen there.
That would be like a tipster moment. That'd be a disaster, right? All I'm saying is that I don't view DeOrio as somebody that's now anti-edgy humor. If
Neither do I, man. Neither do I. That's not my point.
If DeOrio was anti-edgy humor...
Although, again, I did argue the problematic point poorly, and I think that that's kind of why Augie's going down this route now.
I would rape him. If DeOrio came out and he was like, this shit sucks, it's too far, it's wrong, okay, I would molest him every day. I would be fully on board with it, right? But I just don't see that as his new position. The worst thing I think you could say about this clip is that he was virtue signaling. Like, he subconsciously was like, saying that it's offensive to appeal to his audience. If that's what your argument is or whatever, fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, that's my argument. Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. I mean, it goes a little bit further than that. It's not just the audience. Like, obviously the audience is part of it. It's a big part of it. I don't want Anissa to sound funny to the audience, but also it's that looming threat that Ethan Klein is like, like, DeOrio does not want Ethan to pull the plug, okay? And I think that influences a lot of the things that DeOrio says.
Like, he subconsciously was like, saying that it's offensive to appeal to his audience. If that's what your argument is or whatever, fair enough, I guess. But I just don't see this as like that big of a fucking deal.
So yeah, like I said, I don't agree with what Auggie said here. I mean, obviously I don't agree with what Nick said.
The individual instance is not a big deal, but it is just yet another point. It is just yet another example.
I think Nick's making it up as he goes along. I think Nick knows he's a fucking dead man walking. Channel-wise, of course. Like, let me be clear, channel-wise. Like, I'll be honest, true, I still agree. Dead man walking. Like I said before, I'm completely shocked and utterly surprised that he even reacted to Anissa doing the impression. Because everybody knew there was no positive, easy way for him to get out of that. And I want to point out some comments that I agree with here. J-Stock goes, is there more to the clip that's cut off that makes it clearly a hypocrisy argument? The Reddit comment. So after the fact, he said something different. Again,
I don't see how the Reddit comment, like, is different or devalidates what he said on stream.
Different or devalidate? No, the point is your take is that he was making a hypocrisy argument, or your take is that he was making a hypocrisy argument, and my take is that he just said that reflexively. Okay, so when J-Stock goes, is there more to the clip that's cut off that makes it clearly a hypocrisy argument, and then Confusing says the Reddit comment, so after the fact he said something different. What everyone is trying to say here is that the clip does not possess any hallmarks of a hypocrisy argument. But the Reddit comment explains that it was a hypocrisy argument, and you've taken that side as well. Apparently without reading the Reddit comment. That's, you know, you've come to that conclusion naturally on your own, apparently. But that's why I'm bringing it up, is that, like, the video itself does not play as a hypocrisy argument.
I'm surprised Nick hasn't found a new E-Daddy yet. I don't even know who it would be. Would you just go back to Keemstar? Go back to Keemstar, become a local live host like Tommy C?
The clip itself, he is clearly not talking about hypocrisy. Not Chronic Sonic says, I thought you guys were dying for Ian and Anissa to do edgy humor again. I'm all for it. Augie goes, I'm all for it, regardless of how hypocritical they look. It's so fucking soy. You guys are hypocrites. You guys said that you're done with the edgy stuff, and now you're being edgy again. You like, don't fucking piss your pants over this shit. And here's the other thing. There's no...
Just a valid point, though.
Real, like... Well, valid point... Like, it bothers me because valid point maybe for Auggie to make. Maybe... I still think it's soy, but
but he can't be a media guy.
It's not. Again, my whole issue is that DeOrio wasn't making that point. DeOrio was just reacting naturally. DeOrio's natural reaction to...
But he's never had a following for media takes.
To Anissa.
Right? He can't make media content. He has a drama channel.
Impersonate.
So if I, like, you know, I'll talk about movies on stream sometimes, but if I tried to actually just start posting movie reviews on my chat, it would be retarded.
Ela is to say it's offensive and bad, and then later on say that, oh, that was just a hypocrisy argument that I was making, when the video itself does not show that. It just shows him, like, reacting and saying, oh, that's offensive. If you guys want to play a drinking game that'll kill you if you're watching this video, take a shot every time I say hypocrisy. Hallmarks of anti-Semitism here, right? Like, maybe if Anissa did oy vey and the merchant hands, you know what I mean? Listen, those are, like, stereotypical offensive things to do that are considered anti-Semitic,
yeah.
Right? She wasn't doing them. She was clearly impersonating Ela, not Israelis as a whole, and not Jews. Definitely not Jews. Listen, Auggie, I get it. You know, it's your buddy, but I'm telling you, get off this DeOrio train. I know he's in the Discord chats. I know he's in the group chat saying, this Cleepy guy, we got to do something about this. If you genuinely are watching that clip and thinking, oh, he's talking about hypocrisy. Oh, he's making an argument here. You've lost the plot. I don't believe that you've lost the plot. Like I said, I think you're being a good friend. I think you saw what he said in Clip Live. I'm sure he sent you some texts, and you threw out a tweet that, frankly, I don't agree with. I think it's a bit of a silly take, but it is what it is. Anyways, ladies and gents, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more like it, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next.
Okay, some decent points in there. I don't agree with everything like that, though. And it's like, Auggie, you need to get off the DeOrio train. It's crazy. I don't know.
It's true. Get off the DeOrio train. Get off all what's the opposite of all aboard? Evacuate.
No, dude, I'm not on the DeOrio train. I do completely separate shit from him. It's like, I just happen to agree. Now, I will say, to be fair,
Augie obviously lying. They're talking about Sleepy day and night. Yeah.
I totally did not need to get myself into this conversation because obviously you look gay defending a friend or even just talking about this at all or just defending yourself even. You look gay. So I didn't need to.
Which is why I was like, you know what? Good for you. You're defending your friend. And then you go, you're just like Tommy C. You think I can't have any opinions of my own? Fuck you.
Get involved in the conversation. I just kind of did or whatever because, you know, I had an opinion. I dared to have an opinion. But yeah, I mean, that's just how I see it. So I don't know. Let's take a look at what.
So AugieRFC for following up 3 weeks later and still reacting to the video and the tweets and stuff. AugieRFC. I think, as you can see, it seems like he's a lot more closer to the I don't want to say anti-DeOrio, but like, yeah, I guess that's what it is, right? I think he's a lot more closer to the non-DeOrio stuff now than he was before. I also think on the flip side, he's kind of got to defend his takes because what's he going to do? Just fucking bitch out? No. Ultimately, I think the thing I took most issue with was him comparing me to Tommy C. I think that was a really fucked up thing of him to do to me. I'm expecting an apology at some point. Okay. Augie, if I ever meet you, I will be hostile until you apologize for comparing me to Tommy C. Fuck you. Anywho, ladies and gents.
Wow. Epic stuff, guys. Jesus. Hour-long video there. I didn't realize it was just like a straight-up reaction, to be honest. I thought it was like a more traditional video. But there you go. Go support Sleepy as well.